have the wooden gold overlaid wood coffin that goes inside. You can see the detail on it, just phenomenal. All the little inlays put on it. You can get up here and see if I can get some of the some of the hieroglyphics on the lid. That's a beautiful view of the face. Kind of the main event. This is 300 kilos of solid pure gold. It was the final burial sarcophagus. Beautiful engraving all over it. And then underneath that would have been the linen wrapped mummy with the gold mask that was on the earlier part of the video. Here's the face. Just taking the hand up here a little bit. Go up over the top. Just amazing, and like every place you go, they've just got another. Oh, yeah, that's all right. Every place you go, they just got another crate load of goodies that came out of this. You see the detail on some of these golden statues. And one of the guards for the Tut tomb. Another series of Tut material. This one on the end has got him standing on the back of a jaguar, I guess it is. This is King Tut's throne. Another throne. Jars. These would have been the jars.
And she was the favorite wife of Ramesses II, and she has the best tomb in ancient Egypt. She also has a temple built for the goddess Hathor, but it's her temple, and that's also unique. The temple is quite small, and as you remember yesterday, I showed you this slide, and I told you that it is the statue, the temple of the queen, but at the same time the king is represented everywhere. So the queen is represented in the middle. There's the statue of the king, and then the queen, and then the king, and then the king, and then the queen, and then the king. All right? Queen Nefertari. And again, it's all carved into the natural rock. And the interior part of the temple is very small, but it has these beautiful reliefs of some of the gods that we don't see anywhere else. For example, on the left side, we will see the figure of the queen being put between two gods. The god Horus is the one with the hawk, and the one next to him is the god Seth, who is the god Typhoon, who is a fantastic animal. I don't know what animal he was. So we have the only figure of Seth right here. We also have other figures of the great gods of Egypt. We have the figure of Ptah, we have the figure of Hathor, Isis, and then as you enter the pillars have decorations with the heads of the goddess Hathor, full face of a woman with a wig, and then the interior part of the temple has these representations of the sanctuary itself, but it is in very bad shape. You notice that all around the temple, all the creamy color dominates, and gold and yellow, and it's a very feminine temple on the interior. Very fine to visit. It's quite crowded, so just walk.
Did they build up all this?
And here we're going to walk into the temple.
C'est l'autre pied de la statue, à droite.
Very small temple, it's a little hard to get a good view inside here. And around over to the other side, show you the size of the room. And there's about 900,000 French in here. Another relief painting on the far wall. Different panorama here and see if we can get some of this in. See these cartouches up on the top. Presents been given to the Nefertari. God horse. And we're starting to make the U-turn and start heading back out. You can see the back of these. Thanks. Back of these pillars. Little step there. Somebody warned me of that. That was appreciated. I'll give you just a brief idea of where the site is located. Give you an idea of how they two relate to each other. There's Nefertari's tomb, and there's Ramses, or not tomb, but and there's the monument to Ramses. This is just phenomenal. Pan back over to the other one. That's where we just were inside. Go ahead.
Here we have the temple of Ramesses II and the four statues. In the middle of the four statues we have the figure of Ra-Horakhti, the god, and the composition of Ra-Horakhti gives the name of Ramesses II. So when he is giving offerings, he is worshipping his own name, as you can see. Inside the temple you're going to see the pillared hall that has the engaged statues of Ramesses II on both sides. But the wall on the right side shows you a full record of the Battle of Qadr, whereas on the left it shows you the rejoice after the Battle of Qadr. And then there is the inner hall that is the Hall of Appearances, where the barge of the god will be taken out into that hall for rituals to be performed to it. And then you have the Holy of Holies, which is the most unique of all, because it has the four statues of Ra-Horakhti, Amun, Ptah, and Ramesses II. The four of them are there, and it is here where Ramesses shows you the ultimate degree of egomania. Okay? And it's oriented in a certain way where the sun shines twice a year directly into the temple and then disappears, corresponding to the days of his coronation and his birthday, according to what is believed. So right here we can see also the part of the statue that was destroyed in an earthquake. You can see part of the ear and the forehead and the double crown that he wears. And then you have the branching rooms on both sides.
Sorry.
That's okay. And I'm just going to do one long pan. This shows the far side of the Lake Nasser, and coming around. I'm going to widen it out. Now this little cove here, you can see, was actually the original site where these were, and so they were brought from there. And I'll just pan around. And here we go up onto the mountain. Now the mountain is all man-made. They cut them out, brought them up here, then took and built the mountain behind them out of concrete, and then set it all out. There's that little wall. There's the little valley or whatever, wadi between the two mountains. Here's the second man-made mountain. And there is Nefertari's tomb off to this side. And then I'll take and pan a little bit further. Actually found a few trees there. They must have bring those in from a ways away. Because everything else is desert. And then here is a tour boat pulled up. At night they have a beautiful light display, they say, but you've got to stay on one of the tour boats in order to see it. And we're right back to where we started from.
The Aga Khan.
No, that's not the Aga Khan. These are tombs of go back to the Old Kingdom period. Okay, and these are the steps that lead up to them. And then on top there is a tomb of a holy man, and that is Islamic. His name is Abu al-Hawa, and he is the. It's probably one of two things. It's either a tomb, or it's a.
Well, here is our merry little band on the felucca, and we'll just take and pan by. And you can see everybody that's on the felucca. Our guide was just offering me $100 to throw our other guide off the boat.
I just put my finger in.
It's like Eric put it in my room. See how bad it really is.
Well, Kristen,
75.
look over here so we can. Oh, look at that! She smiles like a cover girl on that. It's amazing, just amazing.
It's some kind of culture.
It comes out of a bottle.
There we go. Wow, they're all dancing naked.
You focused in?
Yeah. You know, their Egyptian guide is leading them in the singing. Look at that.
Oh, I did that last time too, yeah. We sang Egyptian songs.
I have heard your prayers. Very soon I shall leave my bed, and your granaries will once more be swollen with wheat. But I cannot shower my blessings on you until the sign is given.
What sign?
This is the last night of the year, and I must wait until Sothis, the dog star, appears in the east before I can grant your wishes. For 70 days it has not appeared, but when dawn comes, it will call me. The sun will slowly begin to rise, and I will overflow my banks and leave my bed. So it was, every year for thousands and thousands of years.
This is Trajan's kiosk.
House of the god. This is where the god or the goddess lives, and she or he live inside the Holy of Holies, inside which is a sanctuary. And this is the whole universe that you are visiting right now. And that universe is the place where the god would live and enjoy life. That's it. But people who would worship, they would worship back home. But why would people come to the temple? They would come here in order to participate in the god and the goddess's pleasures in life. So there are a lot of festivities that take place in the temple, and these festivities is what you come
This is the
and
island of Philae where
be
we
part
would just
of,
have the night
because
show.
you're happy for your god.
This is Trajan's kiosk.
And every temple,
Here again, this is just another view of Philae. We're getting ready to leave. You can see the female faces up. This is the god's birthing chamber, I guess is the way they described it. Or the goddesses, obviously goddesses. And just columns and columns and columns all the way up. There would have been originally in the middle of the first pylon there would have stood an obelisk, which is now probably the one in Rome. That's what the guide's guess was. He said there's quite a few of them scattered around the world, but he said he thinks that one went to Rome. There's Trajan's kiosk there. This is Philae. And here from our boat leaving Philae, I'll give you your last view of Philae. There are the two sets of pylons, the pylons being the big flat square section sticking up. He was pointing out that the holes cut in them would have been observation posts in the later years. They were not original. They would have been used to be able to watch out, use them as watchtowers. And on the face of them, the small indentations were actually places where in modern times they would have chipped out and put floors in and actually turned those into dwellings. And that is Philae as we head back to the boat. I'll show you this one little island. This is a cool little island. It's a bunch of rocks all piled up on each other, all balancing, kind of neat. Here is a lotus flower. It's a statue. It's supposed to look like a lotus flower that was given by the Russians, symbolizing Russian friendship with Egyptian people. And we are at the Aswan High Dam. And sorry? Nope. Now this is known as the unfinished obelisk. We're in Aswan and the rock quarries. You can see how big this thing is. It would have been the largest single obelisk in the world. And it was left because you can see the huge crack in it. But you can see down in here how they've beaten their way down, and the next step when it broke would have been to undercut it, free it from the stone. And then they would have had to figure out how to, they would have had to remove all that rock there and drag it probably a couple of miles over to the river. Send it on from there. This is Colombo.
And crocodiles would be bred here. So this is where
one of the deities was the crocodile.
When they are only babies, they would be kept in the little pool nearby, which I will show you now.
Here's the shaft where they would have bred and kept baby crocodiles. We are here in Edfu today, and this is the best preserved temple in all of Egypt. You can see the statuary or the reliefs are just beautiful. They're very well defined. No damages to them, or very little damage. Here's the side wall of Edfu. This gives you an idea of some of the hieroglyphics all along the sides. This side is a little harder to follow than the others. You can see some damage. Looks like just erosion on the surfaces. Part of the brick retaining wall, mud brick, that would have surrounded the temple. This was tradition to have a mud brick wall to make the, to secure the temple. And ahead you can see the pylon. I haven't seen whether there's just one pylon or a number. Again, this is Edfu. This is coming into the main courtyard in Edfu. And then you can see the enclosure wall. Here's some of the original. The one that we just passed over was actually a rebuild, but this would be the actual existing wall. And you can see some of the archways and some of the holes from when people in more modern times would have used this as a dwelling, at one wall of a dwelling, and they would have put the logs into the walls, into those holes, and that would have been forming floors. So you can see they go up several floors. And I think I got to get a ticket out. And here's the inside of the courtyard. You can see all of the pillars. The Great Hall in front of us.
Yeah, on this side. This one is pocket up here. On the left side there with the black.
Well, we're here in Esna, and there's a a dam here, and we are going to be going through these locks. And here are some of the guys that are gonna, these are apparently the tugboats that are coming out to guide us into the locks.
It's like they're going to sell us blankets.
Yeah, they're going to try to sell us blankets instead, I guess. This is going to be a tough sell because we're going right at them, and they don't seem to figure out that we're not going to stop for them. But somehow they have this vision. Yes, I'd move a little further off. They're going to, yeah, there we go. There we go. Ahmed's going to have a hard day if he's going to try to sell us while we're swimming through the locks.
Look at him. Yeah, right.
Well, that's a great idea.
A flotilla of salespeople. And there's the lock with the other boats coming through it. We've been sitting here for, I guess, 4 or 5 hours waiting for this dock to open up. We were not the first in line, but we now are the first in line. Sound of the guys down here screaming, trying to get our attention to buy stuff from them before we go through the locks.
These locks are very much like the one.
Okay, here is the most unique sales pitch I've ever seen. We got a guy, we're up on the 4th floor of this boat, and this guy is selling these things like hotcakes. Now watch what he does. He's negotiating with the tourists on the top floor, and they say, well, we want to see a blue one.
I give you 4. 4,000. 1 red and 1 blue, okay?
Here he comes. Now watch this now. This guy is going to sell us something no matter what he does. Now here it comes. Ding. And now everybody takes a look at the wares, and he's standing down here going, hello, hello, this is how much. This is too funny.
Say $2.
Another blue.
No, stop.
And we're seeing the middle of the lock, heading into this next little river. Now if you like it, what you do is he throws another bag up with a rug in it. You take and stuff the money in it and send it back down to him. Up, now we've got them coming in off of the side. They're over here. Now you got to watch this. These guys are doing the same thing, just pitching a whole lot less than this guy is.
$10? Give me $2.
Oh, I thought so. Here's 20.
Hey!
This is the kid.
No, it's not. The black one.
Black color. Where is the black?
Yeah, they're buying them like crazy.
Okay, hang
The
on.
word crazy does enter into this picture.
Yes, it does.
Hey! You have 4.
They're getting, huh?
4. This number 5 for blue.
Okay, here comes your money.
All your money's right here.
We bought
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Okay, and here goes the money. Now here's the cashier.
You got some.
We're ready for the cashier.
What you got in your house?
20 and
The Americans have got the money mixed up.
Leave it to them.
Okay, here's the payment.
Throw one down at you.
This is the Visa shot. Watch the Visa shot. Here it goes.
And 1 red and 1 blue. 3 and 1 black.
Oh, yes, I win, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes the money shot. We're going to send it back to him now. This is how you pay him. There we go. And that's the way we do business
In Egypt.
in Egypt. This guy is absolutely fearless. His driver is just making sure he's just barely ahead of the boat.
That's right.
Now hopefully the captain is not distracted by this whole thing, because as we're moving forward, see, there's a huge bridge right in front of us that will, if it doesn't go up, we're going to bang into it. But I'm sure they've got it figured out. That, or of course the captain's on the floor laughing down in the stateroom thinking, crazy Americans doing this, not realizing the bridge is coming up. But here we go.
Gonna have to hit the floor.
Ah, it's a wonderful time. Well, and here we're finally, after a long delay, waiting for the bridge to go up and buy $5,000 worth of material from those jockeys. We're finally moving into what looks like a real and true lock. And at the speed of the last one, we'll be in here about 7.5 hours, the way it looks. Well, and after hours of sitting and waiting and moving a little, and we're finally seeing the dock doors open, and will send us on down the river and on to Luxor.
They have to do maintenance on those hydraulics.
Oh yeah.
They can't fly around and let those run down.
Well, here we are in the Valley of the Queens. The Valley of the Kings was completely closed for video, so they wouldn't allow me to bring my camera in. And I'll just scan around. You can see some of the holes of different tombs, I assume, up on the mountain side. And this is coming up on the Queen Hatshepsut's tomb. This is really impressive. Three stories high, huge ramp up in front. And then we'll just take them back out and show you the rest of the valley. This gal really wanted a big tomb. I'm going to have to run, or I'm not going to meet up with our group. And here's a little bit closer view of Queen Hatshepsut's tomb. Get up here and give you kind of a close-up. There's the ramp, comes up the center. There's a few statues right in front. Give you a close-up on a couple of those. Amazing place.
King Thutmose first. She was the wife. King Thutmose second. And when he died, then she took over. She had a co-regent who was Thutmose's third. Of course, she curbed all his activities, energy, and managed to do that by having a very strong party that supported every decision she made, that was led by her famous boyfriend. That boyfriend was the architect of this temple. He built something fantastic for her, and that is the temple that we visit today. It has some historically important issues in the porticos that it is represented in. For example, that portico there shows us that she is not only the daughter of a king, wife of a king, but she is also the Pharaoh. All you have to do is wait. She's not the daughter of the king, and she's not the wife of the king, but she is the daughter of Amun-Ra.
Sun God.
And how did this happen? Simply by showing Amun-Ra marrying her mother. He faced all along here. Over there is the god Amun with the offerings delivered to him. Then we have the ceiling. Look at how fine the colors are. Now this is different from the tombs because this is a temple, and the temple here is always exposed to weather conditions. And look at the state of its preservation. Absolutely fabulous, as you can see. And what you see here is all the faded colors. Okay? These are all the faded colors. So originally it was very bright, very beautiful on one side. The restoration is only for buildings. It is the figure of Queen Hatshepsut that has been chiseled out by Thutmose III, and then Thutmose is represented here. He's giving offerings to Horus. These offerings are the two senses that he's giving them as an offering to horrors right there. And you see them very, very clear. All right, so take your photos and then we...
Well, we're here at the Colossi of Memnon. These are 15th century BC. They were named by the Greeks and the name stuck, apparently. And he said that the cracks in the stones are known as the whistling statues or something. The cracks in the stones made them actually whistle. One of their claims to fame. Really, really huge. Probably, I'd say 35, 40 feet tall. Then I'm going to pan around and just give you an idea of some of the area here. Here's some fields, and I'll take and come over, and there's a couple of ladies here with a whole herd of goats that they're just walking across. Now that is truly warm clothing. It's got to be 100 degrees here right now. And they're just wandering along with their goats. This evening we've come over to the Temple of Luxor. Our boat is parked just across the street, literally, from here. And this is the front pylon and the obelisk. And this is a spectacular way to see this site. And here is the two main colossi in front. And there's another one over to this side. Well, this is the money shot. Take a look at this. They have got row upon row of these, 2 rows of these sphinxes, just continuing all the way up to the front of the building. I'll do a long pan here. There's the obelisk, the main entrance. You can see the pylon, and then inside the huge pillars or columns. And here's a view of the obelisk. He said the other one is in outside the Louvre in Paris. It was given as a gift to Louis Philippe. As he pointed out, he said that Louis Philippe sent the government in Egypt a clock that never worked. Wow, look at this.
Asked again. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the open court of the temple, just like what we saw at Edfu for a minute. Originally, there was a triple sanctuary there dedicated to the Theban triad. The Theban triad was Amun, Mut, and Khonsur. Father, mother, and son. Amun, Mut, and Khonsur. These were the Theban triad right there. This was built before Ramesses II. Ramesses wanted to include it within his square right here. So he tilted the axis of the temple. That's why when you walk along here, you see those columns. You do not see the Holy of Holies. This is the axis there, and then the temple diverted a little bit, okay? To include that triple sanctuary there. And then
Here, I'll just do a pan around to the central. This had been the central square, if you want to call it that. And these are papyrus-style columns, just massive columns. Not near as big as the ones right up in front, but they're still huge. And that's a shot down to the Holy of Holies. The domed area that you see was actually a Christian church. They finished it all over and turned it into a Christian church. Right now there's a Muslim mosque mounted up in one of the sections of the area. I'm doing a little video on this because I doubt very much it's so dark that I can pick up any of this on my camera, even though I've taken probably a dozen photographs just in case. And this goes back out. This is the view back out through the center to the pylons and that obelisk that's standing out there. This is Luxor,
all right.
or I'm sorry,
temple
Karnak.
here is all dedicated to the god Amun-Ra.
Amun-Ra.
Okay? Amun-Ra was the supreme god of ancient Thebes. He was the greatest of all. Why was he the greatest? Simply because the high priests of Amun were in charge of most of the land around him. So they were very powerful. They were interfering with everything that the king had to do. And every king who came.
And here we are with a beautiful overview
Yes.
of some of the ruins of Karnak. Just do a long pan.
Yes.
The Holy Lake is in front of us. Every temple had one of these. I'll do a little zoom in on to give you a view of the obelisks up in the front of the temple, or kind of in the middle of the temple actually. There's a total of 10 pylons here, which really makes it the biggest around. And there's your lake in front of you. Would have been used for purification, forerunner, as you would say, of baptism. And of course, the Muslims also use water for their purification before they enter their temples. There is another pylon there we can see. And the crane is for rebuilding the 9th pylon of 10. And there's a little bit more of, there's the 10th pylon out there.
But then he decided that
He's still in
he would
Karnak.
build a tent that is built of stone. Right? Therefore, that tent needed to have poles. These poles are represented in the columns that we have here, that are columns without floral capitals. They are columns that have the representations of the poles of a tent that you see. And then it has a roof, and then it's beautifully painted all over. See the sky with the stars, very fine, as you can see. All is pastel colors all around. And then, of course, you used to have these festivities here all the time. The interesting thing about this particular structure in Karnak is that how it was used later on. Are you ready for this one? We have to gather together here. All right. It's a statue of a king with 2 figures on both sides. This was recut to form a cross. Oh. And this became a church. This was the main holy apse of the church, with the holy altar right there. Correct?
Would that be Greek?
No, Egyptian.
Coptic.
Egyptian Copts. All right? Is this clear? And then after this, they came over
These 2 pillars closest to us were never completed, but that showed how the ancient Egyptians would have erected them rough like this, and then gone starting at the top and working their way down, smoothing, chipping and inscribing them with the hieroglyphics and the pictures. And it just gave them a view of how these things were done, because this whole area was just not completed. So it just gives you a little better idea. And this again is Karnak.
Story.
So here we're in the Hyper
That
Hall.
was covered.
134 of these huge
Still see the ceiling up there
columns.
with the holes. Okay, this was covered and that was covered, and then there's a grill window on the side. Okay, and then it was covered on the top. All right. That is a scene in the movie that I'm talking about. Two movies. One of them is Death on the Nile. What is the other one?
Indiana Jones. Not here. Indiana Jones. This is the Karnak.
Where is Walter?
Where's Walter? Where's Walter?
Well, he's not here, then you start thinking. Okay, so the columns that we have here along the transept are much taller than those on both sides, as you can see, and all this was built by Ramesses II. It was started by his father, Sari I, and it was completed by Ramesses II.
Okay, here's another view of the Great Hall in Karnak. Kind of neat because down on the end you can see the trees growing up. This is just spectacular. 134 of these columns. There's your trees out the other side. And I'll pull over onto this wall and give you an idea. Walls are all covered with some really nice hieroglyphics. Say what? Yeah. Smile.
Hi.
Here's some beautiful little flowers. We now moved over to the Temple of Luxor, and I'll just do a nice pan up here. And here is the entrance to the Temple of Luxor. And this again is a Temple of Luxor again. Two huge statues right on the front. I think he said last night those were Ramses. Was that Ramses or was that? They're all Ramses.
Ramses. Yeah, because it's part of Ramses Square.
That's right.
So.
Here we are on the Nile, and I'll give you a little sense of what the land is like. According to what I've been told, the entire country is on a strip of land no more than 13 miles wide, reaching out from the banks of the Nile. That's a total of 13 miles, not 13 miles in each direction. And right now you can see some of the farmland, maybe date palms and stuff like that. They're pretty efficient at using their land. Average farm, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, is 1.5 acres per farm. And this gives you just a kind of a view. I go up this side, then switch over to the other side. We're currently heading north. And it is, I think, the only major river in the world that actually flows due north. All the other ones flow south. And coming up on some people here on the bank. Let's see what they're doing. Pass occasionally kids on the bank that be waving and shouting out to us. Man getting ready to go in for a swim up here. There's some animals up on the shore. And I'll switch over to the other side. Consistently, this side of the Nile, which would be, let me see, we're going north. This would be the east bank. Seems to have a lot more towns and stuff. The other side is much more rural. In the distance, you can see the desert and the mountains. And it is really hot today, well over 100. You go in the swimming pool and you come out in about 2 minutes, you're completely dry. And right now I'm standing in the sun and I am just burning to a crisp, so this may be a short segment. That gives you an idea of where we're going. Man, is it hot. Even with the breeze coming off the river, it's still just like a blast furnace.